Hello and welcome back to another edition of Michigan Conservative Roundtable. I'm your host Mac, and today I want to talk about Black Lives Matter spokesperson Maya Echols talking about how if Officer Derek Chauvin in Minneapolis is not convicted for the death of George Floyd, cities will burn, riots will happen. So before I get into that real quick, I'd like to thank all of our current subscribers and say, hey, keep it going. We're at the time of this recording, we're sitting at 790, trying to make our next goal of 800, with our ultimate goal being 1,000. Thank you for your efforts. And hit that notification bell as well. Our videos will come directly to you. So Maya Echols, a Black Lives Matter spokesperson, who is also a professional model that works for the IMG Group, a famous modeling agency. She says, don't be surprised if buildings are set on fire, or buildings burn, or something to that effect. I don't have the exact quote in front of me. But she also said there's going to be trouble if they don't get their way on this verdict. He better get convicted, or there's just going to be, America's going to be on fire. Those are my words, not hers, but essentially cities will burn. Same old threat we usually get. Black Lives Matter, in my opinion, is a domestic terrorist organization. And now with President Trump out of the way, nothing is going to happen to them. They could burn down every city in this country, and it'll be justified because they need justice. Well, I don't know where there's any justice in theft, terrorism, and that's what it is when it's terrorism, when they threaten you that you're going to lose your property, your life, everything you've worked for, if they don't get the outcome in a case they want. Now, I don't know if Derek Chauvin has killed this man or not. I don't know how I could know that. Whether he acted properly or not, that'll come out in the trial. He certainly didn't seem to render any help to the man. That much I do know. So at that point, with George Floyd having lethal amounts of fentanyl, methamphetamines, cannabis, and I think a few other drugs in his system, he was almost certainly going to die that day because they said the amount of fentanyl was fatal, which means he was going to die that day. I think he was on his way when they pulled him over. I think he was complaining of not being able to breathe when he was in the car. But that's really not the point. If you're going to have a group dictate the outcomes of trials, and if they don't get their way, cities are going to burn, people are going to die, I don't know how that's any different than jury tampering or jury intimidation. I really don't. And I don't think anyone's going to do anything about Black Lives Matter except for the people. We the people. It's got to be stopped. They got to pay a price. They can't loot, burn, steal, and get away with it. Do what you have to do is all I'm saying. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your property, and don't put up with terrorism any more than we would any other terrorists. These are domestic terrorists. They're marxist. Not good people. They've hijacked what was potentially a good movement, although I never bought into the lie that the police were out hunting black people or killing black people. There just isn't the statistic data to back up that claim. And all of these people that are killed by the police or fighting the police or are fleeing from a crime are doing something they shouldn't, tasing the officers, getting the officer's gun, attacking the officers. And cops have taken a lot from these people. Do you remember a while back in New York City when they were throwing cups of water and ice on their heads and throwing eggs on them? And the cops just took it, and I'm sure it ate to the core of their soul, but they just took it. They didn't do anything. They didn't give the people what they wanted, which was somebody getting a beat down. So I'll just tell you this in closing, because I want to keep this a short video. Don't let terrorism and fear run our lives. We can't have it. It can't be tolerated. Do what you have to do to make sure that that doesn't happen. And you can read into that message if you like. It's up to you. I'm just saying don't put up with it. So in closing, my name is Mac. Thanks for watching. Hope you stayed the whole time. We'll see you in the next one. Until then, be safe. Watch your six. And don't tread on me.